In 2007, we started our development effort in one of our first communities, Kwambekenya. Kwambekenya is at the end of a very long road just before the Aberdare Mountains, and it is kind of the end of the line. It's a community that thought that no one really cared or would even come this far to help them. When we arrived 8 years ago, we met with the local leaders, and we had a great meeting, and we spent a lot of time with them asking questions, but at the end of that meeting, we asked them one question. Is that if you had to close your eyes and imagine your community at some point in the future as completely transformed, what would you see? And there was silence in the room. There was no answer. They had no answer for that question. In the Swahili language, there isn't even a word for the word future. So how can you plan for the future? How can you look to the future when you don't even have a word for it?
When we first got to Kwambekenya, there was a lot of brokenness among the churches, people themselves, the relationships were broken, and people would never thought they would work together. And so when we went there, we tried to find out what the challenge was, and we realized people never wanted to come together for their own self-development. But later on they realized that for us to move forward, we needed to come together as church, as people, as businesses, and that was the starting point for that community self-development.
This community was in darkness. Many people who lived or who used to live in this community, they had no hope. They had no idea of whether this community would one day change into a better community. But the moment the Fortin Bridge came, many things has happened.
So for the last 9 years, we've been walking side by side with the community of Kwambekenya. They've been learning what it means to participate and lead their development effort. And we've been learning what it means to follow and allow them to lead, to listen, to ask. Don't come with our ideas, but to listen to theirs and help them execute on their vision for the future. One of the fundamental principles that people hear over and over again at the 410 Bridge is that we don't measure our success by what we do, but we measure our success by what communities do for themselves. We don't do for people, we do with people. And I'm here in Kwambekenya today and just so excited to begin our exit phase from our first community. The leaders here in Kwambekenya have released us to go be a blessing to another community somewhere in Kenya. What that means is, they've said what we've always dreamed of hearing from a community, is that, hey, 410 Bridge, thanks so much, but we have it from here. We don't really need your help anymore, and we want to release you to go help some other community near Kwambekenya. It was a big idea 8 years ago. It was this idea that we hoped would occur. And in the development world, that's just really unprecedented. You don't hear about that often enough. The reason is when you're focused on needs, when you come to a place and all you see is need, the need will always be there. But when you come to a place and you see strong leaders, you see a strong community that is willing and able to do for themselves and eager to do them for themselves, then the goal line is different than solving every need. The goal line is to empower people so that they don't need you anymore. And that's what's happened here, and that's why we're so excited. And there's no greater joy than to come to a community and see that they have a clear vision today of where they want to go on their own. And that's the story here in Kwambekenya. And we couldn't be more excited for this community and for our organization, the 410 Bridge, to have partnered with such a great community full of great leaders and mobilized people who now we can depart as friends.